Buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of AI. And let me tell you, things are moving so fast, it's almost impossible to keep up.
Yeah, it's really mind-blowing.
But we're going to try to make sense of it all, starting with this incredible YouTube video and transcript from Merlin AI.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
It's called "The Acceleration is Still Accelerating: Why Every AI Prediction Was Too Conservative, Even Mine."
Catchy title, right?
Yeah. And what's really fascinating is that Merlin AI himself admits that even his own predictions about how fast AI would advance.
Even he was too cautious.
Right. Like if he's getting it wrong,
Yeah.
we're really dealing with something unprecedented here.
Totally. And he uses this really striking visual to illustrate the point.
Yeah.
He says, imagine a rocket taking off.
Oh, wow.
That's what AI development looks like right now.
Not just steady progress, but like
exponential growth.
Yeah, and he's got the data to back it up.
Oh, I bet.
He points to benchmarks like the human evil code generation task.
AI performance has jumped from like 20% to 70% in just a few months.
That's a massive leap in such a short time.
It's mind-boggling.
It really is hard to wrap your head around it.
And it's not just about code generation. You know, we're seeing similar leaps in AI's ability to understand and generate human language.
Right.
To create art, even to solve complex scientific problems. It's happening across the board.
So what's driving this incredible acceleration? I mean, is it just that we have more data now or more powerful computers?
Well, those are definitely factors, but Merlin AI suggests that something called synthetic data is a potential game changer.
Synthetic data. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a fascinating concept. So instead of relying solely on real-world data, which can be messy and incomplete, AI is now smart enough to create its own high-quality learning material.
So it's like AI is writing its own textbooks.
It's a wild idea, right?
Yeah, that's incredibly clever.
It's like AI is bootstrapping its own intelligence by creating its own training data.
And is this actually happening? Or is this just a theory?
Well, it's definitely happening. And there's even a rumor that OpenAI, one of the leading AI research labs, is focusing heavily on synthetic data for training their next generation of models.
Wow, that makes you wonder what they're cooking up over there.
Seriously.
If AI can already create its own learning material, what happens when it gets even better at it?
The mind reels.
I mean, will it start to learn things that we haven't even thought of yet, things that we might not even understand?
It's a possibility that we need to take seriously because as AI becomes more sophisticated, it's going to challenge our current understanding of what intelligence even means.
Merlin AI gets into this really interesting discussion about first principles reasoning.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
But it sounds pretty complex. How would you explain that concept to someone who's not a computer scientist?
Okay, so imagine you're trying to teach a child how to build a house.
Okay.
You could show them blueprints and give them step-by-step instructions, right?
Right.
But a child who can reason from first principles might instead ask, well, what's a house even made of?
Oh, interesting.
What are the basic materials and how do they fit together?
So they're not just following the rules, they're trying to understand.
The why behind the how, exactly.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
And that's what makes this development in AI so significant. If AI can truly reason from first principles, it can solve problems in completely new and innovative ways.
And Merlin AI gives a really cool example of this.
Yeah.
He talks about how GPT 3.5, which is this powerful language model, was able to invent new terms based on different schools of thought.
It was like the AI grasped the underlying concepts and then extrapolated from them to create something totally new.
It's almost like a spark of creativity.
It is in a way, and it's a glimpse into AI's potential to not just mimic human intelligence, but to surpass it in certain areas.
Okay, so that's pretty exciting, but also a little bit scary, right?
Definitely. And that brings us to one of Merlin AI's most intriguing and maybe concerning ideas, the terminal race condition.
Okay, terminal race condition. That sounds intense.
It does, right. He's essentially talking about a global race to create the most powerful AI, a race that's accelerating towards a point he calls the singularity.
And what does terminal mean in this context?
It refers to the idea that this race could have profound and potentially irreversible consequences for humanity.
Oh, wow.
Like we're talking about a fundamental shift in the balance of power.
And the race aspect refers to the competition between different nations and corporations to achieve AI dominance.
Precisely, everyone's trying to get there first, and the concern is that in this mad dash, ethical considerations might get left behind.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the motivations and intentions of the people who are developing it.
Exactly, and that leads us to another crucial point that Merlin AI emphasizes the democratization of AI.
Okay, so he's saying that we need to move beyond this model of competitive AI development, where only a select few have access to the most powerful tools.
Right, it can't just be a race between corporations and governments.
So instead of AI being controlled by a handful of powerful entities, he envisions a future where it's more widely accessible, a shared resource that benefits all of humanity.
That's the idea, and he believes that open source collaboration and decentralized governance models are key to achieving this.
So imagine a world where anyone, regardless of their background or resources, can contribute to AI development and benefit from its advancements.
That's the vision.
That's a powerful vision, but it also raises some questions for me.
Yeah, I bet.
If AI becomes that accessible, wouldn't that also increase the risk of it being used for harmful purposes?
It's a valid concern, and Merlin AI doesn't shy away from the potential dangers of AI, particularly when it comes to the development of autonomous weapons systems.
He specifically sees the U.S.-China rivalry as a potential flashpoint for this kind of AI-driven conflict, correct?
Yes, he's worried that this geopolitical competition could escalate into an AI arms race, with each side trying to outdo the other in developing increasingly powerful and potentially uncontrollable AI weapons.
That's a chilling thought. It's like we're on the verge of a new era of warfare, one where the battlefields are digital and the weapons are algorithms.
It's a sobering reminder that the future of AI is not just a technological question, but a deeply human one.
Right.
It's about the choices we make, the values we prioritize, and the kind of world we want to create.
Well said.
Yeah, it really is a sobering thought, isn't it?
It is, but it's something we have to confront head on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the choices we make now will determine whether AI becomes a force for good or a force for destruction.
Right. And I mean, Merlin AI seems to be optimistic, but also cautious.
Right.
Yeah.
He definitely sees both sides of the coin.
So where do we even begin? How do we steer this powerful technology in a positive direction?
Well, I think one of the most important things is education.
Education, right?
The more people understand about AI, how it works, what it can do, what the potential risks and rewards are, the better equipped we'll all be to make informed decisions.
So it's about empowering ourselves with knowledge so that we can participate in this conversation in a meaningful way.
Exactly. We can't just leave it to the experts to decide the future of AI for us.
And it's interesting that Merlin AI, while clearly a proponent of AI, doesn't shy away from discussing its potential downsides.
Right.
He specifically mentions the risk of AI being used to create autonomous weapon systems.
Yeah, that's a major concern for him, and he believes that we need to establish clear international regulations and ethical guidelines to prevent the development of AI-powered weapons that could operate without human oversight.
It's a chilling thought to imagine a world where machines are making life or death decisions on the battlefield.
I agree. It's a scenario we need to avoid at all costs, and that's why this conversation about the ethical implications of AI is so crucial. We need to be thinking about these issues now before it's too late.
Another concern that Merlin AI raises is the potential for AI to exacerbate existing inequalities.
Oh, absolutely.
If access to AI and its benefits is concentrated in the hands of a few, it could lead to a widening gap between the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, we've already seen how technology can amplify inequalities. And AI has the potential to do the same on an even larger scale.
So how do we prevent that from happening? How do we ensure that the benefits of AI are broadly distributed and that everyone has the opportunity to participate in this technological revolution?
Well, it's not going to be easy, that's for sure.
Right.
I think we need to invest in education and training programs that are accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or socioeconomic status.
So it's about creating a more level playing field.
Exactly, giving everyone a chance to benefit from these advancements.
Merlin AI talks about the need to embed human values into AI systems.
Yes, and that's a really important point.
What does he mean by that?
Well, he's suggesting that we need to be very intentional about the values that we program into AI. We need to make sure that these systems are aligned with our core values, such as fairness, justice, compassion, and respect for human dignity.
So it's not just about making AI smart, it's about making it ethical. He also talks about the importance of transparency and accountability in AI development.
Right.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, it means requiring companies and organizations to disclose how their AI systems work, what data they're trained on, what potential biases they might exhibit.
So it's about lifting the veil of secrecy that often surrounds AI development.
It is, and it's about giving individuals more control over their own data and how it's used by AI systems.
This idea of data privacy and control is becoming increasingly important as AI becomes more pervasive in our lives, isn't it?
Absolutely. We need to empower individuals to make informed choices about how their data is used.
Listening to Merlin AI talk about all these challenges and potential solutions, it's clear that we're at a pivotal moment in human history.
I agree.
The decisions we make about AI in the coming years will have profound and lasting consequences.
We have the chance to harness the power of AI to create a better world, but we also have the responsibility to ensure that it doesn't become a tool of oppression or destruction.
It's almost like we're writing a new chapter in the story of human civilization, and AI is one of the main characters.
And the ending is yet to be written. It's up to us to decide how this chapter unfolds.
And that brings us back to the idea that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution. We have a say in how this story unfolds.
Exactly.
So what are some concrete things that our listeners can do to get involved in this movement?
Well, they can start by educating themselves about AI, its capabilities, and its potential impacts. There are tons of great resources available online, including articles, videos, and podcasts.
And once they have a better understanding of the issues, they can start engaging in conversations with their friends, family, and colleagues.
Yeah, and they can write to their elected officials, advocate for policies that promote responsible AI development.
It's about recognizing that we're not just consumers of technology, we're citizens of a world that is being transformed by AI, and we have a right and a responsibility to participate in shaping that transformation.
Well said. I think that's a great way to put it.
Well, on that note, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive into Merlin AI's insights.
Okay, sounds good.
We've explored the accelerating pace of AI development, the potential risks and rewards, and the importance of ethical considerations. Now let's delve into the heart of the matter. What does it all mean for us as humans?
All right, let's get philosophical.
All right, so we've talked a lot about how fast AI is advancing and the potential upsides and downsides, but now I think we need to ask the big question.
Yeah, the elephant in the room.
What does all this mean for us humans? I mean, are we on the verge of some utopia where AI solves all our problems? Or are we headed for a dystopian future where machines take over?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And honestly, it's one that even Merlin AI seems to be wrestling with.
Yeah, he seems pretty conflicted.
He sees the incredible potential of AI, curing diseases, combating climate change, creating a world of abundance. But he also acknowledges the dark side. The potential for surveillance, autonomous weapon systems deepening inequalities. It's a real dilemma.
It's like a classic science fiction trope come to life. The very technology that could save us could also destroy us.
It really is, and I think that's why it's so important for you, the listener, to understand that the future isn't predetermined. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the values we prioritize, the way we develop and deploy this technology.
And Merlin AI keeps coming back to this idea of democratizing AI.
Yes, that's the key concept for him.
What does he mean by that exactly, and how could it help us avoid some of these potential pitfalls?
Well, he's basically saying that we need to ensure that AI development isn't controlled by a small group of powerful entities, whether that's governments or corporations.
So it's about making AI more accessible to everyone.
Exactly. Promoting open source collaboration, establishing decentralized governance models so that the benefits of AI are broadly distributed.
It's almost like we're talking about applying democratic principles to the development of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's recognizing that AI is too powerful and its implications too vast for its future to be decided by just a few people.
But even if we democratize AI, couldn't someone with bad intentions still use these powerful tools for harm? I mean, regardless of who's actually developing them.
That's a valid point, and that's where ethical guidelines and global cooperation come in.
Okay, so kind of like setting some ground rules.
Exactly. We need to establish clear rules of the road for AI development and deployment, just like we have for other powerful technologies like nuclear energy.
Merlin AI seems particularly worried about an AI arms race, especially between the US and China.
Yeah, he really does.
Is that a realistic concern or more of a Hollywood fantasy?
It's a concern that many experts share. The fear is that if countries start competing to develop increasingly powerful AI for military purposes, it could easily escalate into a situation where you have autonomous weapons systems making life or death decisions without any human oversight.
And that's pretty terrifying.
It is. It's like something out of a Terminator movie, and that's precisely why we need to be having these conversations now before it's too late.
So what can we as individuals do? I mean, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of this. Like, what difference can one person really make?
It's true, the challenges are significant, but that doesn't mean you're powerless. One of the most important things you can do is to educate yourself.
Okay, knowledge is power.
The more you understand about AI, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions and participate in this really important conversation.
So aside from becoming more informed, are there any other concrete steps that listeners can take?
Absolutely. You can support organizations that are working to promote responsible AI development. You can advocate for policies that prioritize human well-being. You can even just start conversations with your friends and family about these issues.
Raising awareness is so important. We can't just sit back and assume that someone else is going to take care of this.
Exactly. The future of AI isn't something that will be decided in some far-off lab or government meeting. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make, the conversations we have, the actions we take.
And one thing that really struck me about Merlin AI's video is that he seems to be genuinely grappling with these questions himself.
Oh,
He
definitely.
doesn't pretend to have all the answers,
Ah,
which is kind of both reassuring and unsettling.
it's reassuring because it shows that even the experts are aware of the complexity and the potential dangers of AI.
And unsettling because...
It underscores just how much is still unknown, how much is at stake.
Absolutely. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to emphasize that we've only just scratched the surface of a very complex topic,
Mm.
but hopefully you, the listener, now have a better understanding of what's at stake and what you can do to help shape the future of AI.
I think that's a great takeaway. And remember, the future isn't predetermined. It's a story that we're all writing together, and the choices we make today will determine whether it has a happy ending or a tragic one.
So well said. And on that note, I want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. It's been an incredible journey, and we hope you'll continue to explore this fascinating and rapidly evolving field. Thanks for listening.